Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lili Nishmas, Imi Murossi, Rusvas Mordechai. As the dapim are longer, and we're already in a bit of a bind over here, so we're going to be really, really quick with the emails. Borough Park Siyum and Sheer Watch. Rabbi Sai, unbelievable. Go check it out. Hos Rememdi, cough, calf, cave. No, it's cough. Much because gifted at MDY Gemara Givaldik. Oh, it's live. Where? Where's this? Wow. Shalom Aleichem, guys in Borough Park. Shalom Aleichem. Last night, the Siyum in Jackson, which was very heartwarming to me. Last minute, Aaron Hirsch is back. And he made merch. Givaldik. Hollywood, Florida, Sheer Watch location launch. Givaldik. Halavai, it should go weiter every single night. First time ever in Florida. MDY with Eli Stefansky at Koil Avrechim. Staten Island Sheer Watch location launch. Thanks to Rabbi Katzman. Chabad Staten Island for hosting. Yeshar Koyach. London Cheer Watch launch. Check this out, Rabbi Sai. Nice oilum. Let's see which one is going to grow and grow. Go help them out, all these locations. MDY's Commandeer. The Tom's River Neighborhood Siyum. Tom's River MDY musician Yossi Greenswag with the Rav Ram Fried. I never saw this. Hey, ahoy! Reb Avrom, Yishkoyach! Yeah, I guess so. Weiß nicht. No, he does it down with us, Reb Avrom Fried. Rabbi Yisrael Yerushalayim in Lutsk. Check this out, in Rechasim. Mazel Tov in Petach Tikva. In Telstone, in Achisamach, in Charish, in Modi'in Illit.
And the Avodah Zarah is there.
And the Avodah Zarah. They told me they decommissioned it. That was the last time. Moshe Handler. He made.
Can decommission.
You're right. Your buddy, Moshe Handler.
Yeah.
He danced with it. He made a stick of Rikud, and I think he officially decommissioned it.
What's your name and tell us how you came to the daf?
Shimmy Grouse, and I saw you.
Forget about me. How did you come to the daf?
I came to the daf. Someone recommended me. Daf Beis.
Yevumis Daf Beis. Wow, that's a long time. And how does the daf change your life?
How didn't it?
Ooh, how didn't it? Give me one example of how it changed your life.
I started being consistent. I started working out. I started being more on top of my budget. You name it.
Wow, amazing. Okay, Yeshkayach, thanks for saying hello. Sir Davis.
All right, so there's 22 locations now in Eretz Yisrael. 22 locations. Ashdod, the guys from Ashdod came yesterday. I want to say Shalom Aleichem to Reb Shimmy. Reb Shimmy Yishkoyach from Borough Park Matzahs. Azoi? Yes. What, you got me matzahs?
Not for you.
Wow, a starter jar.
Girl said last time your wife, she used coffee jars.
Oh, my wife uses coffee jars. His daughter says, "What's up is coffee jars? You got to get the real deal." Yishkoyach, thank you very much. That means a lot to me. Yishkoyach Gadol, thank you for flying in all the way from Eretz Yisrael. I can't speak. Hold on, Rabbi, hold on a second. Rabbi, yeah, no, yeah.
I said it's scandalous. The mom guys bringing Sarah though.
No, keep on going. That's it? You done? Okay. Thank you. Thanks for speaking above me. And Yishkoyach for coming. I was in the middle of saying. Yishkoyach for coming all the way from America for the Shabbaton. Yishkoyach. Unbelievable. It's Mishpacha. Rabbi Yossi Klein is here. Rabbi Yossi Klein, Rabbi Isai, Mark Ashkenazi is flying in special. Who else is flying in? And Rabbi Chanan. Rabbi Chanan, did you come special for that? No, for real.
I had a bat mitzvah with granddaughter.
But you really came for the Shabbaton. This is sponsored by David Salomon, dedicated in memory of Avi Mori, Reb Shmuel, Baruch, Bereb Chaim, Tzvi, Doiv, Zuchron, Lebrachim, Mesach, sponsored anonymous. Hatzach, Baruch, Zimigash, Bezuch, Zachin, B'nai Yisrael. Joel Gedalius, Lila Nishmas, my father. Hold on a second. What are you saying? What's going on today? Lili Nishmas, my father, Jackie Dalius. Monthly sponsors, TCS, Israel, powered by Talk and Save. Anonymous, Refor Shleim, Sarah Bat Motaram, and Shira Bat Sarah. Aaron Kessler, in honor of the marriage of my son and my daughter. Am I relocating to Eden Gardens in Orlando, Florida? I guess his son is gone, so now he can retire in Eden Gardens. Empty nesters. Shirin Koilol, anonymous from London. Hatzlocha beParnasa. Weekly sponsors, anonymous, is chus for continued success in Parnasa and to be able to support Torah and those in need. Daily sponsors, anonymous, Lezich Nishmas. Harav Ara Moshe Ben. David Ryan, Rov in Chicago. Tzvi Korlin. Thank you, Hashem, for my 2-year-old son being healthy after suffering second-degree burns from a boiling cup of water. I was just talking about it. Wow, Refuah Shleima. Innovations LLC. In honor of my uncle Rebbe Elchanan Pressman Fischel, and as a schus, Vakim Simcha Ben Fega, and Rivka Bas Yafachaya plus, Rivka Yehuda's Bas Yafachaya, plus all the brachas for our family and all MDY. Daily sponsors, Osher Shapiro, London, Narol. Narol? How do you? Narol. Lili Nishmas Imi Mirasi, Rabbanit Miriam Dvoira Basaravat Tzadik, Moshe Mekozlov, Zeichet Zag Levrocha, the Narola Rebbitzin, Oleh Shalom. Aaron and Debbie Billig and family, Mazel Tov to our dear son Shlomo Ben Yomin on his chasana today. The Krupniks, in honor of Yitz and Heather Moshel, thank you for your kindness. Yitz, where is he? Where's Yitz Moshel? Efo, I don't see him. He was here. He was here. Anonymous, Lili Nishmas Rebbe Avram Ben Reb Moshe, MDY Art, Muncie firefighter, Mazel Tov Shmilu Hoffman on the birth of a baby boy, and Mazel Tov the Zayden and the uncles, Mazel Tov. Monthly, Refuah Shleima Yonatan Eden Ben Meshav Bracha, Refuah Shleima Mordechai Ben Esther, Refuah Sayeled Daniel Zeh Ben Ayeled Esther. All right, not bad, not bad. 7:17. Nish lecht. Okay, Rabbi Isai, here's today's question. When you need Roiv Kahal, you need most of the nation. Does that include everybody in America and in London? Or it's only people in Eretz Yisrael? What do you say? People from Muncie count? No, they don't count. Wow, it's hard. It's a hard one. Shver matzav. It's only people in Eretz Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu counts to see Roiv, not Roiv. It's time to come home. You're in the right place right now. So we're holding, I don't like to say this, but we're holding 30 lines from the bottom. The goal is to get to the Mishnah. Last night we did it. So let's go. I really wanted to finish this sugya yesterday. This is the only sugya that you have to hold cup. There's a little bit of a cheshbon. I did something super interesting yesterday that I've never done before. I offered 100 shekel to anybody that could repeat the sugya. And a child got up and he repeated it, a 10-year-old. A 10-year-old. Then I walked outside. I have it on video. Benny was there. Another kid comes over and says, I didn't want to say it, Barabim, I was embarrassed, but could I tell it to you now? Without the chart, he said the entire thing, Balpeh. I have it on video, both. I'll show you in a bit. Hold on. So, we're holding by Omer Rabbi Yehuda Omer Shmuel. Now let's repeat what we're talking about. And this is the case that we need to remember. This is a case of an individual. The Mishnah starts, the Masechta starts, an individual listens to the Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin says, let's say, they said, you're allowed to eat chaylev. Okay, you're allowed to eat chaylev. This individual goes out and eats chaylev. What does the Mishnah say? Potter. This individual doesn't have to bring a carbon. So the Gemara says, there's somebody that argues on this. That's Chachamim. Our Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda, a Yachid, individual. But Chachamim, the Rabbim, they argue on the Mishnah. And Memel, what's going to be? The halach is going to be like Chachamim. The halach is not like our Mishnah. Here, so this guy comes out of Bezdin. Just to give you a... So we start off the sugya with a geschmack. He comes out of Bezdin. He goes to the new restaurant that serves chaylev. And all of a sudden he realizes that it's also or whatever. So what does he do? He gets a little shepsila, waits for the bus, but of course the bus is not showing up. So he schleps him. And he brings a carbon. That is Shitas Chachamim. we need to find a source that there's something called, there's someone called, or there's some bodies called chachamim that hold that you have to bring a carbon. That this happens. Our mission says you don't have to do this. Why? Because you're basing your chaylev on what Bezdin said. Bezdin said you could eat, so you eat. If they messed up, let them bring a carbon. Why do I have to bring a carbon? Because they messed up. Chacham say no, and in fact we passing like that. So let's see. First of all, Omer Rav Yehuda, Omer Shmuel, says Rav Yehuda in the name of Shmuel. Zudirei Rebbe Yehuda, right? Rav Yehuda was a Talmud of Rav and Shmuel, and he always quotes throughout Shas different things that his two Rabbeim told him. Zudirei Rebbe Yehuda, our mission is Rebbe Yehuda. Avachachabim Moimrim Yochad Shasa B'Yiraz Bezdin. When an individual does an Aveira because Bezdin said so, Chayav, he must bring a carbon like we just saw right over here on the screen. My Rebbe Yehuda, where do you see Rebbe Yehuda at all? The Sanya. It says, here's the pasuk, check it out real quickly. Everything is quick today. V'im nefesh is 1. Achas is 2. Ba'asoisa is 3 extra limudim. That Rebbe Yehuda takes these limudim and he learns from it that what? That if an individual does an Aveira based on Bezdin, he's potter. Like our Mishnah. Remember this 1, 2, 3, because on the top of Gimel Amud Aleph, we're also going to do 1, 2, 3 on a different pasuk. That's how we're going to prove that this is Rebbe Yehuda, because in fact, it doesn't even mention his name over here. The Sanya doesn't say the word Rebbe Yehuda. Where does it say anything about Rebbe Yehuda? It says in a brayso, Im nefesh achas techta b'shgo ba'asoisa. We're only focusing on the word ba'asoisa. We're not even going to discuss the first 2 limudim today. Harei elu shleishim yudim. There's 3 limudim. You can learn 3 things here from the 3 words. But the bottom line is from the 3rd word I learned, chayav. If you do it on your own, you decide on your own that chaylev is okay, then you have to bring a carbon. Whereas bezdin, potter. That is Shittas Rebbe Yehuda that coincides with our Mishnah. It's perfect with our Mishnah that when bezdin tells you to do it, you potter. But it doesn't say Rebbe Yehuda. We're going to say it's Rebbe Yehuda. Somebody else is going to come along and say it's Rebbe Meir. My Rabbanan. Oh, here starts the fun. My Rabbanan. So first of all, let me just show you the quick videos, quickly. Here's the kid. Yes, he has above average intelligence.
חייב.
ולפי מי זה הולך?
לפי למעלה, כמו חכמים.
חכמים, יפה מאוד. So I offer him the 100 shekel, he doesn't want it. אתה לא יכול. הוא אומר לי לא, הוא לא לוקח. Okay, and then this is the kid.
בית דין אמר שמותר ברוב.
כן.
ואז הולכים
ומה לך שמה? שמה? שפטור.
ואז הולכים לאחד מ...
Now he remembers the chart, so he keeps on going. The bottom, the top, but he understood it. Okay, anyway. Just to understand, this is not a musig in Shas, but it's a wording in the Gemara, Shigigas Maisa. Shigigas Maisa means that he decided on his own to do it. I don't like those colors, but it changes without asking me. Okay, Shigigas Maisa. Shigigas Maisa means a person decided on his own to do an Aveira. Not that Bezdin told him to do it. Now, let me just show you this real quickly. We're going to go through this a few times until it becomes clear. We want to prove this bottom guy, the right bottom corner. That what? That an individual who's told by Bezdin to do an Aveira, that he could do an Aveira, not he should, that he could eat chaylev, that individual must bring a carbon. That's all we're trying to prove. So it's going to work like this. Chacham hold this. We're trying to prove the bottom right corner. So it goes like this, very simple. The bottom right corner, you're chayiv, because it's pasha that you're chayiv, because the one above it is chayiv. How do I know the one above it is chayiv? Because the one next to it, the left top, we were looking for a pasuk for that. But we never looked for a pasuk for the top right. So since we never looked for a pasuk for the top right, it's pasha the top right is chayiv. But why is it so pasha? Because the bottom is chayiv. That's the cheshbon. The bottom right, that's the one we're looking for, right? We're looking for this. How do I know that the bottom right, you're chayiv a carbon? I'm going to say and explain what a bottom right is, top left, but just let's get the gist of it for a second. The bottom right, you're chayiv a carbon because the top right, you're chayiv a carbon. How do I know the top right, you're chayiv a carbon? Because the Brisa doesn't even bother to find the source. If you're not even, the only source we have is for the top left, which is the Roiv Kahal, most of the Tzibur. But we never even speak about some of the Tzibur, because it's so pashut. Why is it so pashut that the top right, you have to bring a carbon? Because obviously the bottom right, you have to bring a carbon.
So we don't know where it'll.
Hold on, let's go. So let me show you inside. Here, I'll do it with this. Hold on. It's pashut. It actually is simple. I'm not kidding here. These 4 boxes consist of only 2 things: individuals and roiv. 51% of the Klal Yisrael or individuals. And in the individuals in the roiv, there's two options. Either Bezin told you to do it, or you did it on your own. Shigagas Maisa or Horayos Bezin. Either Bezin told you, or yeah. So here are the 4 things. Sorry. This is roiv. Roiv, that if Roiv Klal Yisrael does it and Bezin told him to do it, we're not even discussing today. That's pashut, that you're potter. Now the Brisa says, I'm jumping to the end of this whole thing because it's very, very arichos. It's over and over and it keeps on saying words to confuse us. It's like a great riddle. But the bottom line is, after everything, after all the words are put aside, we need a pasuk for this, that you chayiv a carbon. What's this? That if Roiv Klal Yisrael does an Aveira on their own without Bezdin, Shigagas Maisa, means on your own without Bezdin, they have to bring a carbon. The question is, how come this one doesn't need a pasuk? When a small amount of Klal Yisrael does an Aveira, the Brisa doesn't feel a need to bring a pasuk. Why? First find the pasuk for that, then find the pasuk for the Roiv. What are you jumping to? The Roiv Klal Yisrael does it, you have to bring a carbon. And what about the miyut? Because it's pashut that the miyut has to bring a carbon. Why? Because the bottom, if the miyut has to bring a carbon, even if Bezin tells you to do something, you have to bring a carbon. So certainly when Bezin doesn't tell you, you have to bring a carbon. So the guys on the right are pashut that you have to bring a carbon. That's why the Brisa never even bothered bringing a pasuk. Everything on the right, everything on the right, you need to bring a carbon. The Brisa bothered the top left. What about if a roiv got a psak? They did it on their own. But a miyud on their own, it's pashut, you have to bring a carbon. Why? Because a miyud with bezin, you have to bring a carbon. That's a raya. What?
It has nothing to do with the right. Because a miyud has to bring a carbon.
How do you know that a miyud has to bring a carbon? How do you know that a miyud has to bring a carbon? Only because the roiv is, we're looking for a pasuk for the roiv. Because you're looking for a pasuk for the roiv, and not a pasuk for the miyut. We don't know what the pasuk is talking about.
Torah says when you do an aveira,
yeah.
bring a korban.
Right.
That's Torah. Has nothing to do with it.
Maybe it's talking about this. Maybe it's that. We're going to go through that a little bit. We're going to go through exactly what you're saying. But let's before we ask questions, let's understand the basic logic. We didn't learn the sugya. I'm giving you an overview. What's going to come out? The logic of the overview. That's all I'm looking. That's all we're trying to do here. So a very brilliant person called me up yesterday. He sent me a WhatsApp. He goes, I went through the art scroll. I went through I don't understand the sugya, and I went to your shir, and you stopped right before that. How dare you? You know. So I gave it. I showed him it. I sent him a message. He said, oh, klar. Okay, because I also looked at the art scroll. Didn't really work for me. But anyway. Nachamal, what's the logic here? What's the Gemara trying to do here? From the fact that the Brisa is looking for, I'm with you. From the fact that we should turn off those machines in the middle. Maybe it's not the best idea. Okay, okay, fine. The guest. Rabbi Schwartz. It's okay. Today, guest. From the fact that the Gemara, the Brisa is looking only for a pasuk, for a source, in the case of Roiv Klal Yisrael, does it by their own without Bezin, that means the Brisa understood that I don't need a source for the miyut that does it without Bezin. And what's the pshat in that? Must be they got it from the bottom, from when the miyut It's a nice cheshbon. The miyut, just the logic from the miyut. When the miyut does it with bezdin, the chayiv a carbon. So certainly when you do it without bezdin, you're chayiv a carbon. If bezdin, Avi asked me last night. It's a good question. I understand. Bezdin told us to do it. Why do I have to bring a carbon? I'm listening to bezdin. Well, that's a tremendous chiddush that you have to bring a carbon even though bezdin told you to do it. So certainly bezdin didn't tell you to do it. You did an aver. You should bring a carbon. That's the top part. But how did I get to it? The bottom part. This is what I'm looking for. Right over here. That box tells me that I learned from this brisa that miyut with Horayos bezdin is chayva carbon. That's shittas chachamim. That's it. That's the hard part for today. Now.
The arrow should be going the other way. If you're learning the top and the bottom,
enough problems. Everybody tells me another thing. I changed the wording and this and that. Okay, fine. The arrow should go the other way. So put the arrow the other way. Says the Gemara, my Rabbanan. And now we have 20 lines of a lot of repetitive things, a lot of things that are havaminas. Let's see. The Sanya. It's going to be over like 3-4 lines before the end of the Amud. And if you don't get it, it's fine. We move on to easier stuff, geschmacke questions and different halachas. The Sanya. Adayin ani oimer miut kahal shechotu chayavim. It's talking about the brisa. The brisa says, Adayin ani oimer. If you have not a majority, part of Klal Yisrael did an aveira, the chayiv, shein bezdin mevim ayudeim par. They have to bring a carbon because bezdin doesn't bring a carbon. And the Gemara is going to explain exactly what we're talking about. Roiv kol shechotu yipturim. I would think that if a majority of Klal Yisrael sins, you should be potter. Shari bezdin mevim ayudeim par. Again, the logic is if bezdin brings for you, you don't have to bring. If bezdin doesn't bring for you, you do have to bring. Talmud loymar meyam haaretz. The word meyam haaretz is extra. I learned from this is just a havamina afilu ruba va'afilu kula. Even if Roiv Klal Yisrael does an avera, they have to bring a carbon. Now the Gemara goes step by step. Let's figure out what are we talking about. I have no idea what we're talking about. We're talking about bezdin told him, bezdin didn't tell them what's going on. B'mai ileima b'shigigas ma'isa. If we're talking about that most of the kahal did an avera, what's shigigas ma'isa Rabbi Isai? They did it on their own, without bezdin. You don't have to read these words. Bezdin shlei barad, they're a little extra. Bezdin ma'aviditayu. Why in the world? Does it make any sense to anyone here in the room that if I, Eli Stefansky, I do an avera, then the bezdin should bring a carbon for me on my behalf? Makes zero sense.
Why they represent you?
A regular yid that's Michal Shabbos by mistake?
Kohen Gadol brings for everyone.
No. I did an avera, you're going to bring a carbon for me? No, that doesn't make sense. To me, it doesn't make sense.
I am Kippur.
To Rabbi Nachman Seltzer makes sense. To me, it doesn't make sense.
I'll give you a raya. Not just
Time out. I have a better raya. I have a better raya that if Bezdin tells you to do it, the Bezdin brings it for everybody. But I'm saying in a typical case where you do an avera, why would Bezdin do it for me? So it can't be talking about b'shigigas ma'isa. Can't be talking about that I decided to do it on my own. Bezdin ma'aviditayu. What's the connection between me and Bezdin if I do an avera? And now you could skip this whole one freebie line, 1.5. These words, shlei baraz bezdin mi ma'isa shlei bara, take it out. Ella bahira. Must be, we're discussing a case where Bezdin said, do it. That's why they bring a carbon for you. V'kiksiv mi ha'ma'aretz. But wait a minute. There's a little bit what Noam was saying. When there's a chi of chatas ma'aretz, b'shigas ma'isud d'chsiv. It's talking about when an individual does it, not when Bezdin tells you to do it. Ela hachikamar. This is what it means to say. Miut kahal shechatu b'shigas ma'isa chayavim. What shigas ma'isa Rabbi say? They did it on their own. You're chayiv. Shein Bezdin mevim al yideim par beira, because Bezdin does not bring for you. Ha hein chayavim. This is funny language. Well, I would try to be medayik, but if it was with Bezdin, if Bezdin did say to do it, then you would be chayiv. Okay, now I would say, well, wait a minute. Maybe, we're going to explain all of this. Don't worry about it. Keep on going. Just keep on plugging through this. I'm just thinking the whole time myself, Yossi Klein on Shabbos doing Chazar, he's breaking his head right over here. I think when most of the nation does an avera without bezdin, they should be potter. Why? Shari bezdin mevim aleim par bohira. In another case, when bezdin does tell them to do it, then the bezdin brings a carbon. But so maybe if they did without Bezdin, it should be potter. Every single person has to bring a carbon. We're not there yet. This is the beginning. We're going to explain it even more. Omar Papa, it makes no sense. Maybe in a case when Bezdin tells you to do it, no one brings a carbon, not the individual, and not the Bezdin, no one. Oh, and here it comes. This is it, right over here. 3 more lines, Rabbi say. Why is the Brisa looking for the top left corner, a pasuk, for the roiv? Shaloi bahiraz bezdin, shigigas maisa. Yeah, they did it on their own. Why is the Brisa only looking for pasuk for that one case? Out of 4 cases, the Brisa only needed me'am ha'aretz. So tell me that case. It must be lav miklal de miut bahira kaimelei de mechayva bahira. It has to be that because when there's a few people that are told to do it, and that's our case that we're looking for. Nachamal, we're looking for this case. Remember, the guy comes out of Bezdin, one individual was told by Bezdin to do a thing, he has to bring a carbon. How do I know? From the fact that the Bryce is only looking for a source for the roiv without a ra. That means that a miut with a ra is mechuyev to bring a carbon. That's how I know. Why? First, the Bryce should look for a pasuk al miuta the mechayev b'shigas ma'isa. How come the Brisa didn't look for the top right corner, only for the top left corner? On Shigas Maisa of a miut. And only after that, and then look for a source for that. The reason why the Brisa didn't feel a need to prove that a miut, B'shigas Maisa, the top right corner, needs to bring a carbon, it's chayav a carbon, is because it was obvious to them, Shemamino, miut bahira, because the bottom right corner. From the fact that I didn't go to find the source for and I only went to find the source for the roiv when they did it themselves in the top left corner. It's a proof to me that the bottom right corner, that's all I'm trying to find out today, is how do I know the bottom right corner? Miut. That comes out of Bezdin. Bezdin told them to eat chaylev. They have to bring a little shepsela up to the Beis Hamikdash. Chayom hein kizba, either a shepsela or a sira, not ve, sira or a goat. Bam. Then the story. That's the end of the sugya. Anybody want to repeat it? Huh? 100 shekel? Anybody? Okay. Weiter. Now, very, very pashut. From here on out, it's basically Agada compared to this. We just learned one brisa that says Shachas 1, 2, 3. We saw, and from there the Gemara says we learned that it's Rabbi Yehuda that says that if this is the case, that a person ate chaylev because Bezdin told him to eat chaylev, he's potter from a carbon. We had another brisa. This whole spiel. Adayin and Yomer, Korn Bluth is like, what the, okay? Bryce, I'm just looking at your face. You're looking in a circle like this. Bryce number 2 is who? Anybody? Chachamim. Bryce number 1 is Rabbi Yehuda. Ask the Gemara, who told you? There's no names associated with anything. It doesn't say Chachamim in Bryce 2, and it doesn't say Rabbi Yehuda in Bryce 1. Michdit Arvayu Stamitnan says it without names. Mimayde Kamai Rabbi Yehuda, who told you which one is what? I'll say the opposite. Stam for fun. Let's say the Brisa 1 is Chacham, Brisa 2 is Rabbi Yehuda. Chacham say Potter, Rabbi Yehuda say Chayiv. Who told you? Says Gemara, Man Shams the Dorish Miyuda Gagavnu. You know why? Because there's another place in the Torah. Look at this. Pasuk. Look at this pasuk. Rabbi Isai, here it goes. 1 Zois, 2 He. Ha'ila. It looks familiar. Oh, since Rabbi Yehuda does this kind of spiel on this pasuk, I'm not going to get to our sugya. So Meila, it must be Rabbi Yehuda is the one that said the same kind of concept in the pasuk of Basa Isa. The sign Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Zois Taris Ha'ila, He, Harei L'Shleishim Yudim. You know how I know that the Brisa number 1 is Rabbi Yehuda? Because Rabbi Yehuda does not fit into Brisa number 2. So it must be that he fits into the Brisa number 1. Why? The Brisa of Adayin and Yomer, the Gemara calls it Adayin and Yomer. I call it the 4 boxes in a circle. It says, it said in the Brisa that if the majority of Klal Yisrael sinned, so Bezdin has to bring a par. The Rabbi Yehuda argues Bezdin doesn't bring a par. This not Rabbi Yehuda Omer Shiva Shvatim Shechatu Mivim Shiva Parim. Each shevet is considered its own kahal. The Bezdin doesn't bring it. The shevet brings it. Okay, so it can't be Rabbi Yehuda. So Mela, if Bryson number 2 can't be Rabbi Yehuda, so it must be that Rabbi Yehuda is Bryson number 1 and Chacham is Bryson number 2. End of the story. That the Bryson number 1 is Rabbi Meir, not Rabbi Yehuda, right? Until now we're talking about Rabbi Yehuda? No, Rabbi Meir. And in fact, Chacham, he agrees that it's Chacham that say that if you listen to Bezdin and you do an Aveira, you're chayv to bring a carbon, not like our Mishnah. My Rabbi Meir, my Rabbanon, who's this Rabbi Meir? This Anya Hoyru V'asu. Also, a riddle. The Bezdin paskin to do it, and they did it. Who's they did it? The Chayr means they. Who's they? The Chayr means the Bezdin, no? I don't know. Just read it. Hoyru, they paskin V'asu. Who's asu? It could be Klal Yisrael, it could be Bezdin. I don't know. Okay, let's go through it. Remeir poyde v'chacham chayven. Man asu. Who's the ones that did it? Eli and Bezdin themselves did an avera after they paskin. They like chaylev. They paskin the chaylev is mutter, and they went to the restaurant. They ate chaylev. My time the rabbanon the mechayvi. So why in the world would rabbanon say you're chayav v'chatas? Well, Tanya yochel hoyer Bezdin v'asu Bezdin yochel yu chayavim. Here it's mefurish in a brayso. If Bezdin paskin, then they went and they did their own psak. I would think they're chayav. No. Talmud Leimer hakahol v'asu. Now, if you look at the pasuk, there's a snachta under the word hakol. There's a comma. It's a different sentence, basically. No, we're going to read it hakol v'asu. That the nation hakahal asu, the nation did it, not the Bezdin. It makes a lot of sense. Ma'isa tolu bekahal. The action was taken by the tzibur v'hirot luya bebezdin, but who paskin? The Bezdin. Don't mix the things up. There's a Bezdin paskins, there's a tzibur that does. Ella, so then we have to go back. Elohayu Bezdin v'asu kol, like you guys were saying. It means hayru v'asu, the Bezdin paskin, but v'asu is going on Klal Yisrael. By the time they made the poiter, I don't get it. Isn't it a psukim in the Torah? Isn't it a whole parsha that if Bezdin made a mistake and the tzibur did it, why in the world would Meir say you're potter? Elalav. Oh, now we found our case. It can't be all these other cases. We narrowed it down, and then I have a new case. That's the case that our Mishnah is discussing. Bezdin paskin. Only one clown went and ate chaylev. Does he have to bring a carbon or not? And there's the machlokes. Masav yachid shasa beres Bezdin potter. That's mamish our shaila, like our Mishnah you potter. Masav yachid shasa beres Bezdin chayev, like Chacham. No. In fact, everybody holds that if you do like Bezdin, you're potter. Check this out. If I can find it. Where was it? Here. Yeah, 50-50 of Klal Yisrael. 50-50, yeah? Boom. When does Bezdin bring a carbon? Only if there's 51%. Check this out. Now you have the entire Sanhedrin, and they all go to the left. Do we add them to the, look, there's a scoreboard on top, 49%, oh, it just went up to 51%, because Sanhedrin went to the left. Do we use Sanhedrin to tip the scale and say, oh, now it's a Roiv, and it's a Par Helam Davar case. That's the machlokes, whether or not you can use Bezdin to tip the scale. Or the pshat is, no, Bezdin paskin. And you're right, a typical case. Most of the nation did it. But the Chacham is Reb Shimon. The Omar, Tzibur Maisi, Bezdin Maisi. Everybody has to bring a carbon. Bezdin and the Tzibur. We're going by the Shvatim here. Shevet Ruvain, there Bezdin said you could eat chaylev. Nobody else said it. U'man Chachamim, Reb Yehuda, the Sanya Shevet Shasa. This is the review that we mentioned before. Shevet Shasa Beraz Bezdin Oisei Shevet Chayev. That Shevet has to bring a parallel Madava, not the Bezdin. Rabbi say, check it out, beautiful stuff. Here you have a stadium. There's 12 Shvatim in Klal Yisrael. Look, five of them are the majority of Klal Yisrael. They have larger, right? I don't remember which one. Don is tiny. Binyamin. Don is Binyamin. Okay. Who? Who's tiny? God. Shimon. Binyamin afterwards. Okay, fine. I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't listen to me. So here you have a majority of Shvatim. Rabbi Yisai, like in America, the voting system in America, it goes by the states, it goes by electoral votes. It doesn't go by the majority of Klal Yisrael. Here, you have 7 electoral votes, but it's less people. It's not the popular vote. The popular vote is on the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the popular. 1, 2, 3, 7 is the electoral. That's one way to have the Roiv. The other way is this way. It's actually 6 and 6. It's in terms of Shvatim, it's divided perfectly. But one of them has done in there. Memela.
The done is that he had one kid.
Right. Yeah.
And that one kid ended up being a much bigger shevet than most of the others. So that's the chiddush.
Okay. That's how you remember it. You followed it? Says the Gemara. The sign of Reb Shimon Lazi, in the name of Reb Meir, if 6 out of the 12 sin, but they have the majority, they have done on their side, or you have 7 Shvatim, next sugya. Omer Ravasi. This is the question I started off the share with. It's going to upset everybody in Chutz La'aretz. Omer Ravasi. The Barilam Dover is dependent on if most of the people in Eretz Yisrael ate chaylev. We don't care about the people in the United States and in South Africa. We're all Shneimar. How do I know? It says in the pasuk. Here, kahal. Who's considered kahal? That's the time that they made a big suda. They ate on Yom Kippur. Hashem forgave them. It already says all of Klal Yisrael is with him. It's very sad. All of Klal Yisrael is with him, besides all the people that live in Chutz La'aretz. But all of Klal Yisrael. So why does the Torah have to continue? Hamas, Nachal Mitzrayim, Shmamino, Hani Dikri Kahal. Only people that live in Eretz Yisrael are considered the nation. Al Hanach Leikri Kahal. The rest are not considered the nation. Pshita. Says Gemara Meruvim v'Nismatu. Do we have machlokes? Check this out. Fascinating stuff today. I'm telling you, we're going fast. Chaval, we can't appreciate it so much. A person was a kohen. He ate a bunch of chaylev. He has to bring a carbon, right? But he didn't find out that he ate chaylev until later on in his life, when he happened to be a kohen gadol, or a nasi. A nasi, a kohen gadol, brings a different type of carbon. What is it called? The question is, does he bring a carbon chatos, like when he ate it? Or does he bring a carbon like when he found out about it and he won't bring a carbon at all because it's something different? So that's machlokes between Reb Shimon Chacham. Do you go by when you did the Aveira or by when you found out about the Aveira? Very important, because I have a good shaila. Mirubim v'nismatu. You have 51% of Klal Yisrael did an Aveira. They ate chaylev, and then because they ate the chaylev, their body wasn't used to it, and 10,000 people dropped dead, and now they went from 51% to being 48% of Klal Yisrael. But when they ate it, at the time they ate it, they were the Roiv. The time they found out that it's Asur, they were only 48%. They died from the stomach disease. Do we go by the time that you find out, or by the time that you ate? So that's pasha that according to Chachamim, you're going to have to bring a parallel dover here, because it goes by the time that they ate, and by the time that they ate, they were 51% of the Klal Yisrael. According to Reb Shimon, it goes by the Yediyah, so they don't have to bring a parallel dover. But the question is on the opposite, says the Gemara. What if when they ate the chaylev, they were a minority of Klal Yisrael, they were only 48%? Then the other side, because they didn't eat the chaylev, they didn't have a strong body, and they died. And they became less. So at the time of the eating, they weren't chayav of carbon helam davar. Later on, 2 months later, it became a new situation where you're chayav. Is there a machlokes in that situation? Reb Shimon Dazal Basi Yediyah Mechayev, in that case, when the time they found out, they were already the majority, because a bunch of people from the other side died. Rabbanan Dazal Basi Chata, but it goes by when you ate. But when they ate, they were only the minority, and you don't have to bring Padri, you don't have to bring Mai. Says Gemara Tizbera, Oiloi, but you take that out, Oiloi Mai. Tizbera, Eim the Sham is later Reb Shimon Dazal Basi Yediyah. You take this out. Yediyah Doi Chata Misham, he says, I don't understand. How could you add an Isser? If you're chayav a carbon chatos, And then the chatas switches into a carbon, something else, par Mashiach. Fine. There was a chiyuv chatas, and now it turns into something else. I hear. But there was zero chiyuv. At the time that they did Aveira, they were the minority. No chiyuv at all. Yeah. 2 months later, you're going to add a chiyuv to it. So according to this logic, or the opposite of this logic, it should be that Reb Shimon should hold that if you're a kohen gadol, bring the carbon of a kohen gadol. What's the problem? He doesn't hold that you bring a kohen gadol. You don't go by it later on. Later on is nothing. Reb Shimon, chatav yediyah, you need both the ched and the yediyah, and therefore there's no parallel davar in this case according to Reb Shimon. There's no parallel davar according to Chacham. There's no machlokes. Everybody holds when they start at a miud and end off at a roiv, there is no parallel davar. Yibaylu. Bunch of gishmaka questions here. Hayru bezin chaylev mutter. One day bezin said chaylev mutter. V'asu miud takal, and a little part of the nation did it. V'chazru ben bezdin, and bezdin retracted. V'hayru v'asu miud acher. I think I might have a thing for it, but I don't know where it would be. No, this is the other case. Fine. You hear what's going on here? Bezdin paskin, you're allowed to eat chaylev. Then Bezdin comes and says, we made a mistake. Then they say, we made a mistake that we made a mistake. You're allowed to eat chaylev. So there's a hefsek between the two psakim. But the first time they made the psak, not everybody tried out chaylev, so it was a minority of Klal Yisrael. The second time they made a psak, now you have a majority of Klal Yisrael. Do you bring a carbon, because you have the majority, or no? They had a retraction in the middle. They had a chazar in the middle. It was a hefsek. We're going to have a bunch of interesting questions here.
But isn't every case that you're going to start with a miyut? One guy's going to try it.
Very good. 100%. You're 100% right. Very good question. It always starts by miyut and it eventually builds up. You're right. And that's the question you probably wanted to ask before. But over here, forget before. In this case, there's a hefsek. You understand there's a hefsek. They said, no, we retract. So you can't combine the two. You can't bring the guys from here and the guys from here, put them on the same team, perhaps. Now, but you're right in what you said. That idea of what you said, that it takes time to build up. One guy's going to do it, a second guy. Eventually, you're going to get to arrive. Now, perhaps it's two separate, what's the word? Awarenesses. No, at the end of the day, it's the same Aveira. So it's considered one. Yishmak, here we go. No, this is, don't look at this one. This one. Here, you see, it's two types of chalevs. One is chalev from the stomach, and one is chalev of the dakin. Now, what's the difference? Because in the pasuk they're brought differently. The one is red and one is purple. It's a chalev amachas akerev. It's a kol chalev asher al akerev. It's different types of chalev. So since it's two isurim in the Torah, they don't combine together. How about they give the Drake Roy loyman starif? Two separate psukim is what I meant. But thank you. Oh. Over here it's different. It's two psukim, two parts of the pasuk. Or at the end of the day, they're both chaylev, mitzdarf, they should go together. And if you say we go by the name, what about this, Rabbi Isai? Check this out. A little bit of, what is it? 40% of the Klal Yisrael drank blood, 20% of the Klal Yisrael ate chaylev. Together you have 60%, that's the roiv. Maybe now it should be mitzdarf. It's completely two different. Why is chaylev and dam two different isurim? So Rashi, I would say, okay, one is in this pasuk, one is in this one. No, Rashi says because there's a case where chaylev is completely mutter, and that is where chaya. Blood is never mutter, so it's the two different isurim. The carbon shava, but at the end, check out, he did very nicely. First of all, here's our parhelim davar. Oy vey, what do I do? Not this. This. Do you see this? There's the chatas and chatas. They're both the same. They're both sheep, or both goats. And if you'll say that it's the same carbon, check this out now. Oh, what if 40% of the Klal Yisrael did Avodah Zarah, 20% ate chaylev? Now it's a different type of carbon. Why is it a different type of carbon, Rabbi Isai? Because now take a look at the type of carbon on the bottom. What do you see? A goat. You cannot bring a sheep, only a goat. They explain over there, sheep has a thick tail, you can't tell if it's a zoch and a keva. A goat, you can tell if it's zoch and a keva. People know right away what you did, what aver you did. It's a busha. So you have to bring a goat that's part of the kapara. The carbon is very different. This is different. But maybe they do combine together because at the end of the day, the punishment is the same. They both get karas and mitzdarif. Take them.
The carbon here is the par halam davar, not.
Yeah. We're talking about here, this guy right over here. You see this guy. Do you bring a par helam davar when 40% of the Klal Yisrael does Avodah Zarah and 20% of the Klal Yisrael does?
Right, I'm saying it doesn't make a difference if the carbon you could tell the male and female.
Oh, yeah, but I was just throwing it in why, as a reason why, like, Pnimis HaTorah.
Got it.
Why they bring a goat, only a goat, and not a Ibaylu. Hayru Bezdin Shechelev Mutter. Look at this case, Gewaldige case. He did a beautiful job here. If I could get to it. Here we go. Bezdin, you see Bezdin? Bezdin all the way in the back over there. They said you're allowed to eat chaylev. But only 20% of the Klal Yisrael listened to it. What happened? Look at this. They went bye-bye. They went to Olam Ames.
Because it was a punishment.
No. Years later, they're all 120 years old. They went up to Shemayim. And then Umeis Oisi Bezin, Vama Bezin Acher. New Bezin came in. And now Klal Yisrael continued with the same halacha, but based on this new Bezin. The question is, did the two Bati Dinim combine together? Shama, did I say hello to you ever?
No.
Shama, what's your name? Oh, I saw you yesterday. Yeah, so you are, who got you? Rabbi Ben Shushan got you to come to the shir?
He hyped it up for me, yeah.
I left him a message about you, but I forgot your name. I should have remembered. Ben Shushan. Shalom Aleichem to you. Nachum Braun. Related? A son. You look super excited to be here. You're tired from a flight? What's going on with him? He does the daf? You do the daf since when? Ooh, wow, nu ist ganz fun. Gewaldig. Shkoyach for coming. Who else? Anybody else? Shalom, what's your name? Shalom, from where? Oh, early. Okay, I thought you said Erlich. Sorry. Shalom Aleichem. You were here before. One time, somewhere like 3 months ago. A bunch of times. Okay. And the guy next to you is looking away from me, so okay, fine. That's okay. That's the sign. When you go like this, Rabbi said, that's the sign. You put your hand on your head, I got it. What's your name? From? Here, Shalom Aleichem. The guy next to you is new. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? You. All right. You got the idea? Rabbi Yossi, you're holding with me, or you're like jet lag? Two Bati Dinim. Because of one Bezdin, there's 20% of the Klal Yisrael, the other Bezdin, 40% of the Klal Yisrael. Do combine them together. I'll leave it to man the Omar Bezdin Maisi Leiti Bailach. If the Bezdin brings this parallel davar, no question at all. Why? They're gone. You can't bring a parallel davar for another Bezdin. The lesson, they're gone. Elo ki debailach. So what would be the question? I'll leave it to man the Omar Tzibur Maisi. According to the man it says that the Tzibur brings what's halacha? Tzibur hakoi. The Tzibur is still alive. Or dilma yedida bezdin the harubin, or you need the awareness of the first bezdin, and they're gone. Take Daf Gimel Amud Beis. Turning to the Daf, Adar Global, Specialist in International Financial Services, anonymous L'Zeich Nishmas Reb Chaim ben Rebbe Loz Ashkenazi, anonymous in gratitude to Rebelli and MDY for promoting Achdus Yisrael and Ahavas Yisrael. All my Rebbe Yonason. All we need to do is get to the mission, Rabbi Isai. Not a problem. 2 minutes is more than enough time. 100 people in Bezin sat down to Paskin. Rabbi Isai, listen to this halacha. How do you have 100? I don't know. Whatever the reason is. There's 71 and the few people were locked. What is it called? Deadlocked.
That's only for dinner.
I get it. Okay, you figure out a way that you got to 100. The point of the Gemara is that 100. Could you tell the guy in the back? He's disturbing me. The 100 people that paskin the psak. What if 99 out of the 100 paskin and one decided, I don't want to paskin about chaylev being mutter? There is no par helam dover. You need all 100. In all of the Torah we say ruba kikuloi. If 51 out of the 100 said, this is the psak, that should be enough. Not when it comes to par helam dover. Special chiddush, why? We learn it in the pasuk. Ein chayom at sheyoyru kulon. You need all 100 to paskin. Shenemar vim kol. That was the key word. Kol. Every single last one. Adas Yisrael yishgu. Ach yishgu kulam. Ach yishgu b'chol Yisrael. They say that Mashiach will come if all of Klal Yisrael get together and they're ba'achdus. They also say that in order for that to happen, l'chayra, you need Mashiach to be here. And I say, he just ruined the short. And I say that through MDY, in our achdus, just looking around this room, the people with the colored shirts and the white shirts and the black yarmulkes and the kippas rugaz and the all sorts with the rings on the finger and with the rings in the nose. We have normal people. We have a lot of meshuganas. We have all types of people. Baruch Hashem. Be'ezer Hashem, we're on the way. We're helping. We're doing what we could do.
Show me one normal person.
You! Our Tzchia says, by the way, the guy with the question, that there are places we find that there was more than 71 at the Bezdin Agado.
No, there's definitely more than 71. It's very hard to get to 100. They all discuss it. It doesn't matter. You can't have an even number, correct. Okay, it's a point. Fine. It's the idea. You get the idea. Here. In all of the Torah, we say 51%. That's enough. Roiv is the whole thing. It says the entire nation. Even 100, 99 is not enough. You need 100. So let's go to our Mishnah. Bezdin Paskin, and one out of the 71 knows there's a mistake. He knows better. He knows chaylev is aser. Again, don't correct me here. Chaylev doesn't mean all of chaylev. Chaylev means one part of the animal chaylev, as we're going to see in the Mishnah coming up. He knows chaylev is aser. But he went with them, whether he went with them to the restaurant, or maybe they went to the restaurant and he went after them. He did it on his own. I skipped. Because these two people, they didn't count on Bezin. They did their own thing. But the Gemara's Medayik. Who's chayiv over here? The one Talmud, the one judge that knows better. But it's a typical case of a Roaz Bezdin and Klai. If just Joe Schmo went to the store, to the restaurant and ate chaylev, he would be potter. It's a case of Horayos Bezin. I didn't have a Horayos Bezin. One out of the 71 is against it. He knows in his mind that it's aser. Says Gemara, that one that doesn't agree, but he went like this. He said yes. And Rabbi said, I got to tell you, I got to stop over here and pause for a second. Don't make the mistake that I've made many times. The Friday night speech. The guy's darshaning, half the oilam is asleep. There's one or two guys doing Shnai Mikra in front of his face. This guy prepared for a whole week, and this guy's doing Shnai Mikra right in front of his face. So I'm a nice guy. I go like this. That's it. When you do that, you're a goner for the rest of the speech. Every 22 seconds, he's turning to you and he's waiting for you to do this again, and you do that this. It's like me and Noam during the share. Don't fall for that trap. Another thing, another what is it called? Public announcement. Huh? Hold on. Yeah. But I'm just saying. I was at public service announcement. Our boys say, if you're going to speak in public, this Shabbaton, this unbelievable Shabbaton is coming. If you're going to speak in public, not me, of course, but other people are going to speak, make sure that you speak something that the Olam enjoys, the Olam likes. If you're going to give them your shtickle Torah that you said in Yeshiva Ktana when you're 6 years old, I was at a place with 700 people, and a guy got up and spoke. I on a Sefer Torah, I can say this. Half the people were asleep. You gotta, common sense. Now, but here's a Ma'aseh Shaya. A guy was giving a speech on a Friday night, and everybody was sleeping. Everybody fell asleep. There's one guy that he went like this to him. Yes, he's masking to him, shaking his head. So gave him chizuk. He kept on going and going and going. And after the speech, he went over to him. He said, it's like, I saw that you mamish enjoyed my speech and you were masking me. He says, truth is, I had a fly on my head. I was like, okay, anyway, Zok the Gemara. Tashma. Hoyru bezdin v'yoda echem shito. So the same thing, we're doing this all over again. Bezdin made a psak, and one of them realized there was a mistake. Same thing again. You made a mistake. Harei pturim. Taima domer lem toimatem with the pturim. It's only because he said you made a mistake, you're potter. Hashasik mishtuk chayavim. Okay, different than what we learned up until now, but if he's quiet and he doesn't say you made a mistake, they would be chayav. It's a psak, it's over. But he doesn't agree to it. You have to have everybody agreeing to the same thing. He just tilted his head and he showed him that he's masking, even though he's not. But by tilt, that's enough. To be 100, you just need 100 people going like this, even though inside your head you don't agree to it. Some were saying a good shayla. Some were saying a diri b'shim b'gamliel b'diri b'lezer b'tzadik shoyayimrim. That's what we learned in Avodah Zarah. There's 10,000 points. Whoever remembers this Gemara, Ein goyzrim gzeira al tzibur elo im kain roi v'tzibur yichoyin lamibo. Chachamim don't make a gzeira on Klal Yisrael unless they know for a fact that everybody could withstand the gzeira. Where do we say this, Rabbi Isai? Shemen. He's right. I said Avodah Zarah. That what? Shemen used to be aser, oil used to be aser, like shemen, like yain esech, shemen of a guy, and they said Klal Yisrael can't withstand. They can't operate like that. So they took away the gzeira. V'omer Rabbi Barabba Mikro, b'meiratim neirim v'yisatim koyim. This is mamish from Avodah Zarah. Hashem says, you accept upon yourself a chumrah of truma, whatever. I'm giving you a curse, v'yisatim koyim, because you're stealing from me. Hagoy kuloi, the entire nation. Over there, not the entire nation accepted it. Most of the nation accepted it. So this is a roiv is like everything. So over here you see that the roiv is like everything else. Like the Rubik Kula, Tiyufta the Rabbi Yonason, Tiyufta. So that would be a Bam Kasha Rabbi Yonason. Bela Michael Adas the Kama Rahmana. So then you're saying that Rubik Kula, that you don't need the entire Bezdin. So then why the whole raya was from the word Kol? Kol adas, that the entire nation. Why does the Torah say kol? If all of the Bezdin is there, the entire Sanhedrin is there, great. It's a psak. They all have to be there. What's the chiddush? I mean, if they're at home, so it's not a Sanhedrin, fine. But everybody has to at least attend. They don't all have to agree according to this. They don't have to agree. They have to be there. 10 dayanim paskin something, then they're all responsible for this. You have the chain around their neck. Pshita. What's the chiddush? If one of the 10 is a Talmud, he must open his mouth and he must say, Rebbe. I don't know how you should say it in a nice Bakavitic way, but Rebbe, didn't you teach us the opposite ones? Say it but you have to open your mouth. Don't be a big tzaddik.
Talmud disagrees. He has to say something.
Correct. That's why I argue with you all the time.
In a respectful way.
Okay. Ravuna was worried about this. So you bring 10 people with him. He would say that all 10 should take responsibility. Rabbi, I just thought about something. This second, I just thought about it. That if every single person in MDY is a tremendous chelik of MDY, and Memela, if you're a chelik of MDY, if you bring another human being to learn Torah, whatever you do, you give matzah to the Magid Shir for Pesach, whatever your status is, then, like the Gemara says over here, then all 10 people carry the load. Everybody gets sachar in this. It's not just one person. Rav Ashi gave a ma'asid treif to l'kamei, when they would bring an animal and they would ask him, what's the halacha? Check this out. He did a nice thing here to finish off the shir. Here, he brought a treifa. Yeah? But think about it. If you bring a whole animal, if it's treif, if this whatever organ is treif, that means the guy has to spill out $2,000 goes to waste. What are you going to do with the cow? $2,000. That's a tremendous responsibility. So what do? He'd go to Benny's meat market, bring all the guys that understand about meat, and they would be mishtatif and saying, hey, the halacha is like this, the halacha is like that. It's treif, it's not treif. All right, he exaggerated a little bit that the beam knocked him out. But the point is that everybody becomes a part of it. So he was worried. If he made the wrong decision on this animal and he would owe $2,000. He doesn't have $2,000. Let's split it $200 between everybody. And like this, I could do a psak. He'd bring tabachim, he'd bring the butchers from Memasim Mechasi over there. They're all Talmid Chachamim. It says in Kiddushin they were Talmid Chachamim. U'moisef kamei, Omar ke'echad nimtayin shiba mikeshura. We should all take responsibility equally. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at mdydaf.com.